Okay, welcome to the deep dive. Today we're digging into some really interesting sources, looking at how technology, specifically AI, can be used for, well, more than just productivity hacks.
Exactly. We're talking about using it as a tool for real personal transformation, building the life you actually want.
Yeah, and the sources track this one individual's pretty rapid shift, right? From a tough spot to, significant recognition in just 6 months.
That's the core story, yeah. And the method, treating life almost like a lab experiment and finding AI as a sort of digital companion in that process.
So the goal for us in this deep dive isn't to get lost in all the tech jargon.
No, not at all.
It's about pulling out the core strategies, insights from science, sociology, even consulting and entrepreneurship that you might be able to use.
And how AI can maybe lower that, activation energy needed to get started on your own goals.
All right. So where do we start? The science angle seems foundational.
Yeah, this idea of life as an experiment, you're the researcher adjusting variables, and AI is described almost like an enzyme.
An enzyme? Okay, how so?
Well, it lowers the energy needed for a reaction to happen. So AI lowers the effort needed to start or finish difficult tasks.
Ah, I see. Like getting over that initial hump. The sources mentioned using something like Perplexity AI.
Which is basically like a conversational search tool.
So instead of just staring at a blank page for, say, a business plan?
You can ask it. Ask it to generate a draft, brainstorm, outline steps. It helps you move from just thinking to actually doing quickly.
That makes sense. That's the enzyme effect right there.
Exactly. And then the sources shift perspective a bit, looking through a sociological lens.
Okay.
They bring up this concept of network poverty.
Network poverty, meaning lack of connections.
Not just connections, but lack of access to good advice, diverse perspectives. Getting honest feedback from experienced people can be really hard for a lot of us.
Yeah, absolutely. So how does AI fit in there?
Well, this is pretty interesting. It suggests AI can function as your portfolio of advisors.
Portfolio of advisors, how?
You can prompt a chatbot, like ChatGPT, and ask it to respond in the style of someone you admire, maybe a strategist, a leader, even like Oprah.
Seriously? You can do that.
Yeah. It simulates getting access to ways of thinking you might otherwise never encounter. It's a way to virtually overcome that network barrier.
Wow, okay. That's simulated guidance. That's powerful.
It really is. It lets you sort of spar with different viewpoints on your own ideas.
Which leads us nicely into the next angle, right? The consulting mindset.
Thinking about your life or project like a consultant would.
So things like ROI, return on investment, but for your time and energy.
Exactly. An MVP, minimum viable product. What's the smallest step you can take to test an idea or goal?
And USP, unique selling proposition. What makes you or your idea stand out?
And a key tool here, the sources say, is a time audit.
Like really tracking where your hours go.
Yeah, to apply that Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule,
Yeah.
find the 20% of activities driving 80% of your results. AI could even potentially help analyze that data,
Okay, so you figure out where to focus, then the MVP part. How do you build that quickly?
The sources mention using AI image generators like Midjourney to create mock-ups.
Oh, right, for product ideas or concepts.
Yeah, then you can A/B test those mock-ups online before heavy investment. See what resonates. It's fast, cheap market testing.
Like a lean startup approach for your own life goals? That makes sense for a rapid transformation?
Definitely validating ideas early, minimizing wasted effort.
And this all feels very entrepreneurial too. That idea of sparring as training.
Yes, you need that challenge, that pushback to refine things.
You can spar with the AI.
Absolutely. Ask it to critique your plan, find the flaws, play devil's advocate, use it as a digital sparring partner.
That's a different way of thinking about AI interaction, not just asking for answers.
Right, and entrepreneurs also gather market intelligence. The sources mention web scrapers, maybe something like Appify.
To analyze what competitors are doing, like popular social media posts?
Exactly. Understand the landscape, see what works, what resonates. It informs your own strategy.
Got it. So all these pieces, the science, sociology, consulting, entrepreneurship, they feed into this idea of growth hacking your life.
Kind of, yeah. Continuous improvement. Aiming for significant gains. Analyzing your own user journey to find friction points and optimize.
It's a very structured approach, but the sources also acknowledge it's not perfect, right? The
Yeah.
AI tool landscape is messy.
Definitely fragmented, lots of different tools. They even float a hypothetical idea like a Converge AI that might pull everything together someday.
Which brings up bigger questions, doesn't it? Building this second brain on AI. what does that mean for us?
Especially with agentic AI on the horizon, AI that can act on its own.
Sure.
Where's the line? What about, the dignity of the human experience?
And the job displacement concerns, of course. Though the sources frame it more like historical shifts, like assembly lines or computers.
Yeah, it's less about total replacement, maybe, and more about adapting, finding new ways to work with the technology.
So the ultimate question becomes, if you use AI for everything, workout plans, advice, is it truly helping you design your life? Is it dignifying your dream?
That's the core tension, I think.
Okay, so wrapping this deep dive up, it seems AI can be this powerful companion, advisor, even a sparring partner for growth.
If it approached thoughtfully, yeah. It encourages this multifaceted analysis of your life, scientist, sociologist, consultant, entrepreneur.
But the challenge, and maybe the opportunity, is navigating those ethical lines, that reliance, ensuring it genuinely enhances our human experience.
Making sure it serves your goals, your definition of a meaningful life.
So maybe instead of fearing being replaced, the provocative thought here is, can you become the person who learns to partner with this technology? Like that idea of mastering the tools to fix the problem yourself.
Positioning yourself not just to cope with change, but to actually thrive in it.
Build your system, spar with your AI, and remember that sparring is training.